In 2021, Tim Manny put the Megas on top in back-to-back victories. In 2022, the most famous family in monster truck racing helped to secure another win for the Mega Truck faithful. Tonight, will the Monsters finally find their way back to the #1 spot on this tradition-rich racetrack? Up next, Monsters and Megas hit the dirt full force. Welcome to the Valley of Thunder. As one weekend a year, this place turns into a mecca for monster truck fans, not only from the Northeast Quadrant, but fans from all around the country who come to catch the machines in action on the front stretch of one of the most legendary facilities in all of monster truck racing, the Lebanon Valley Speedway in the heart of the mountains of eastern New York. We're about 10 miles from the Massachusetts border, and that means along with the Monsters, we've got a mass of mega trucks from the Northeast who have come to do battle with two of the pride of the South, including Old Number 6 and King Sling, both out of the Anderson stable. And this year, the promotion and track have spared no expense in bringing back not only full throttle, side-by-side straight line racing, but a stadium-sized freestyle obstacle course to the top end of this place. Howard Commander giving the okay to promoter Steve Perry with the direction of Ryan Hogenkamp came up with this one-of-a-kind competition that includes, yes, a backflip ramp with a sponsorship provided by the Union of Operating Engineers Local 158. So a big thanks to them for helping get that trench box out here to build a proper flip obstacle for our competitors tonight. Now we will get underway with Monster Truck qualifying. Keep in mind, last night, the Monsters and Megas Overall Racing Championship went to the Megas with King Sling and Weston Anderson taking the win over Crazy Train in a somewhat controversial championship race. Last year, it was Tim Manny in the Dirty 30 Mega, winning back-to-back nights over Greg Witchenbach in Crush Station. First up in qualifications, here comes Montana Robin. Out of Lawtons, New York, the Empire Flyer, Flame Crazy, the beautiful bright blue Silverado with the Jansen horsepower inside of that Eddie Mica chassis. We will see what Montana has to open up qualifications. Nice, strong pass in the FTI-sponsored Flame Crazy, one of two second-generation drivers representing that team. He's the youngest of the two brothers, a 7.68, not a bad run, but I have a feeling these guys are only going to get faster. Up next, the big black GMC body logging truck. This is Chris Silwicki in the Lumberjack. We'll see where he ends up. That was a solid run. The lane of choice is usually the bottom side, but look at that, 7.60 by 0.08 of a second. He moves in to the #1 spot, but here's the other half of the Robbins family here this weekend. Another Eddie Mica Jansen powered machine. This is Crazy Train, Triton Robbins from Western New York. Ready to go. Let's see where he lands in the field. Your racing winner from last night. Beautiful pass out of the top lane. Again, most of these guys want to be down on that bottom side because you don't have to deal as much with the camber or the track. But it's not going to matter for him. At a 7.13, he will move into first place just ahead of Chris Silwicki in Lumberjack. Now, the teammate to Lumberjack, another second-generation driver. This is Zach Witchenbach. They call him Stu. He keeps landing on the nose. A lot of nosedives out of this truck all weekend long. Didn't look as fast as the runs in front of him, and definitely isn't a full second almost off the #1 time laid down by Triton Robbins. But Zach getting some seat time underneath of him. Doesn't look afraid of the truck, just needs a little bit more experience to be up in that upper echelon with the likes of Crichton Robbins. And this guy right here, Chris Kohler out of Columbus, Michigan in Brutus, another second-generation phenom. Straight pass with the Racehorse chassis Brutus. See where Kohler lands. 773, so 0.6 off the number one spot right now for Brutus. Up next, here comes Corey Rummel in Rage out of North Jackson, Ohio. Another solid run, another member of Team Scream, the truck out of Columbus, Michigan, built by Corey himself. And back-to-back 773s will go on the board, but Brutus will grab the higher spot on the pole by virtue of putting the time down first. As another member of Team Scream comes to the line, Joe Foley, representing the team out of Leicester, Massachusetts. This is the Jim Kohler-built Axe. Carried the momentum into the final jump beautifully. Let's see where he ends up on the board. 725, not bad. Chasing the 713 of Crichton Robbins, last night's race winner now. Jim Kohler, Mr. Excitement. Member of the old guard here, a veteran of many years in the Avenger, the 57 Bel Air, another Corey Rummel built chassis out of Columbus, Michigan. Little out of shape at the end, but the run looked good. Remember, he's chasing a 713. He did it, a 7.06 second run, foot to the floor driving, and what else would you expect from Jim Kohler in the Avenger? So here are our qualifying results, and you can see the top of the field, how much they stretch out as they get down to that number 5 position, but everybody in this qualifying round looked strong to fairly strong as we go down to the bottom. Not as many problems as we saw yesterday in qualifying, in spite of running on, as you can see, kind of a wet track after the water truck made its passes down through there. Now, we're going to take you into round one pre-show highlights of a massive field of stock tough trucks that went toe-to-toe here. And we only have first names for a lot of these people, but we'll try to make do. Matt and Millie matching up here in this first round with that really bent, what appears to be either a Ford Ranger or a Mazda, I'm not sure, but it would be Millie walking away with the victory there in the sedan. Then Dodge Dakota matching up with Austin Sitterly. That's Alex there in the near lane in the Dodge Dakota. Austin Sitterly, who is beating that Trailblazer to death, but it would be the Dakota coming out of the corner well ahead of Austin and moving on into the next round, as Austin would have to get a hook to get himself off the track. Up next, Daniel Donnelly, our old buddy out of New Jersey. Saw him down in Hagerstown, Maryland, or saw the car down in Hagerstown, Maryland. He's going up against a super fast Dominic Papaardia, who got the jump on him. Dominic definitely getting the advantage on that bottom side. A lot of water up on that top lane, and that hurt Daniel Donnelly with the front-wheel drive car. There was nothing he could do as the slides to a stop up next to Dominic. Now, Jenna and the Mom Bomb up against Brett in Issues, and the Mom Bomb gets out to an early lead, but watch what happens as these two try to fight their way into the alleyway. Remember, there's really only room for one truck in between these monster truck race lanes. Mom Bomb ends up on the monster truck race lanes, and Brett moves on to the finish line in Issues as he pounds that little S10 Blazer. Last night's Tough Truck Stock Class winner, Stu Sitterly in the Avalanche, taking on Brian R. in the Colorado, and it would be Stu Sitterly continuing his dominating ways in an Avalanche that I don't know how much it's got left in it, but hopefully enough to get him through the rest of the night. Now, Chad Hersey, the guy we saw end up on his top last night in the trademark violator here in the near lane, going up against a little Scion that unfortunately did not make it out of the first full turn. It would be Chad Hersey, this time staying on all four wheels and moving on into the next round with the Jeep. Then pair of leopard print vehicles, Aaron Shielding on the far side of the barrier, Brianna Lashaway on the near side, and this one got interesting. Watch Brianna Lashaway. She's got a flat left front. Watch the right front. Muffler dragging on the ground, and there goes the entire front end of that machine. She didn't make it to the finish line, and Aaron Shielding, he didn't make it to the finish line. He got hung on the center ramp there between the middle two jumps of the monster truck course, but the crowd loves a little carnage, and that's what they gave him. Brian O'Neill taking on the man named Charlie in the near lane. O'Neill with the white spray can and pink Jeep over there on the far side. They were banging door handle to door handle all the way through the first section of this course, but the last half belonged to Brian O'Neill. Austin A. and Nick Marchesi doing battle here. These two were both really hard runners on night number one, and nothing changed, but you can see Marchesi getting out to the lead, going into the alleyway as Doomsday would cross the finish line in the number one spot after round number one. Austin A. still trying to chase him down, and that would conclude our first round of stock tough truck racing. We have a ton more coming up, including mega trucks and modified tough trucks. Do not go anywhere as the best of the best take a second shot at glory. Stay with us.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date info, media, and all your other monster truck needs, visit monstersmonthly.com. And by Crush This. For a look inside the world of monster trucks, check out Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast. This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by RPM Army. For a wide array of content from across the motorsports world, visit rpmarmy.com. Your high-performance fix on the go.
Back at the Lebanon Valley Speedway in eastern New York, getting ready for the qualifying round of our mega truck competition here in just a moment. But in the meantime, we have an absolute war going on in our stock tough truck class. There you see Austin Sitterly going up against the driver named Millie in this round, as they both made it through a grueling round one here at Lebanon Valley Speedway. In fact, Austin came through a grueling event yesterday, didn't end up in the number one spot like he wanted to, but he's looking good here today. Let's see how he handles the track. You can see a lot of water down there on that low side. See how that affects them. Keep in mind there is pavement when you get down onto the pit lane of this track, so that can make it very slick over there where that water is accumulating. You see the bumper cowling coming off as he goes airborne. It will be Austin Sitterly picking up a solid win there over Millie. She was chasing him down, but not quite enough, as the Jurassic Park Jeep, Dominic Popoardia, coming up now against Alex in the Dodge Dakota. We'll see how these two handle the track, as Dominic's been putting a hurting on this thing. Keep an eye on the front end. The right front seems to be taking a beating on the Jurassic Park Jeep. I'm surprised it's still hanging in there. He's not been kind to this thing. Slowing down quite a bit again. Going from very slick pavement with dirt on it to a very dusty situation there up top. And look at that. The airbag goes off on the passenger side. Didn't disarm that. I hope he disarmed the driver's side one. I couldn't see. It didn't look like that one went off, but a shotgun blast in the passenger seat. But he still goes to the next round, and he left some parts on the track. As we get ready here for the third matchup in round 2. Stu Sitterly, who, as I said, won last night up against Mom Bomb, the two biggest vehicles on the track in this class. And Sitterly starts to fall back. He may be setting up to take the inside lane. Look at him push her around. Almost gets her over like a demolition derby car. She's out in front, and she plans on staying there. Mamba upsetting last night's winner, Stu Sitterly, who tried to push her off center, and it did not work. Stu will have to go back to the pits and put her on the trailer. If he can even get it back there, he's still a lot of steam coming out of the front. He'll roll on off now. Austin A. and Chad Hersey. Trouble and the one called Gravedigger ready to go. Chad out front. Look at him get up on the nose. He trips the rear tire as he's bowling into that water hazard hard. Getting pushed around. Austin A. trying to keep him from getting to the alley first. He's not able to do it. Grinding on the back end, and it might be to Chad's advantage that he kept the tire back there. I do believe that Austin A. just pulled out a very close victory. Indeed, they will hand the win to the orange Jeep called Trouble. Look at him blasting the back end of Chad Hersey's Gravedigger Jeep. Right at the end, he gets past him as they were banging doors, parts all over the track. Here comes now our final matchup, Nick Marchesi and Brian O'Neill. And O'Neill is way out front right now. Marchesi going to try to chase him down as he goes sliding onto the front stretch. O'Neill just has to hang on to it, try to stay out front. It's very slick up here tonight. And it will be Brian O'Neill moving on to the next round. He will face Chad Hersey. We'll see Austin A. coming back to face Jenna, and Dominic will face the other Austin that we saw a little earlier on. Now we're going to bring out our modified Tough Trucks. Another class, so we really only got first names for these guys. The number 76 Jeep, a gentleman named Ken taking on Dalton Moreau, whose father won last night's competition in this Wayne's Radiator special down here on the near side, that beautiful blue and orange pickup. Who's it gonna be, the second gen or the Jeep? Very close, going into the corner. The Jeep trying to get up under Moreau. Not gonna do it. The Wayne's pickup will move on to the next round. We'll see if that family can make it 2 for 2. Dad drove last night. His son gonna drive it tonight as our next pairing rolls to the line. Here comes Carl Barnes in the Sayers 24-hour towing. Well, what used to be a Ford Ranger. It's pretty scattered looking right now up against the number 407 machine driven by a gentleman named Chris. We will see if this Ranger that had a lot of trouble last night can take out the Wrangler. Had some trouble getting off the starting line here. The number 407 Jeep going to try to take advantage of what appears to be an ailing Sayers towing machine of Carl Barnes. A little tentative off the line, but still going pretty quick. Barnes looks a lot better tonight. Heading into the first turn, full throttle. Very uneven surface on this track, but he takes advantage of the quicker turn, and the Sayers towing Ranger dirt tracking and trying to get it under control as our next pair comes right in the stage. The number 420 machine closest to the camera. The driver named Brian taking on Bill in the 158, the red, white, and blue Jeep that just crossed the starting line. Camera right in front of you. We will see who can take the measure of the other. Pair of Jeeps ready to go here in round one of the mod class. Big jump for the 158, the long wheelbase Jeep. Into the first turn, look at him dirt tracking through there in the water. Hydroplaning his way out. And a massive lead for the 158 red, white, and blue Jeep. He comes flying down through the starting line end of the track for the monster trucks, and he will move on to the next round. We'll have another battle with another Jeep, and we will see the two pickups take on each other, Dalton Moreau and Carl Barnes, in our next round of modified tough trucks. Now we bring more massive horsepower to the line. The Big Shock sponsored Little Faker getting the thumbs up from Adam Wemple out of Gloversville, New York. He's going to go side by side here in qualifying with Gary Sabella in a truck called Old Number 6. A lot of history in the frame rails of that machine right there. Used to be the old street digger. We will see who comes out with the top time here. The advantage has to go to the top side of the racetrack, the Willis machine of Gary Sabella out of North Carolina with that big 540 Richard Midget. Horsepower in the front. They come into stage. You're going to see a lot of smoke out of the Little Faker. It's nothing to worry about. That's the way Wemple likes to tune them. Here we go. A lot of hang time for Wemple on the final jump at an 8:02, but it will be Gary Sabella with Old Number 6, 7.87 second elapsed time to take the number one spot as Wemple goes back to the pits. Going to try to keep that tailgate on for the rest of the night. Here comes Bobby Sage now out of Hainesport, New Jersey, in that big, tall S10, that bright orange machine, taking on this beautiful blue Deadside Ford called Just Showing Off. That's Dave Rayner out of Morris, Connecticut. Dave's done well here in the past. Bobby Sage did some damage to this machine last year in racing, landed and broke some heims. It allowed the front end to travel around a little bit. Wasn't able to complete the full evening. We will see what he has here, though, in qualifying. The truck has looked super strong here in 2022 at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. Monsters and Megas, pairing number 2 of the Mega Qualifying. More big air off the bottom side. Dirty Jersey at an 890 and an 877 for Just Showing Off. So Old Number 6 will remain in the number 1 spot, and Little Faker will maintain the number 2 position as our third pairing of the qualifying session rolls out. Here's a second generation family now of mega trucks. This is Mark Gerlach. We saw John Gerlach in the Tornado here last year. John was planning on being here, but unfortunately his truck was involved in an accident during testing involving Adam Wemple. Thank God he's okay. And good to see Mark out here this weekend. He's going to take on Raleigh Klein in Dirty Looks, the diesel-powered machine. Let's see how these two match up. Boy, Klein gave away a lot off the line, but he came back on Gerlach. Look at that, an 890 to an 894, so 400ths separating those two at the finish line. And I'm not sure if Gerlach underestimated Klein or not, because Klein came back on him big time in the second half of this track. There you see Timothy Sayers out of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, taking on another Pittsfield, Massachusetts resident. That is Matt Fenwick in the Gladiator. Matt, if you saw our coverage from night 2 here last year, you remember the Gladiator who lawn darted. That truck was painted red back then, but he absolutely disintegrated. The front end of that machine ended up on his side with 3 wheels on it. Hopefully that does not happen this year. He's going to go side by side with Timothy Sayers in that beautiful silver and green Chevrolet called the Outsider. Ford and Chevy here, pairing number 4. Problems for the outsider. This is going to be all Fenwick. A good run for the Gladiator, but a problem at the end. There goes the left front for the second year in a row. He's going to take it off the track on 3 tires, and there goes the left front right there, banging into the dozer and laying over on its side. Not the way he wanted to come out of qualifying. A lot better than the damage he left here with last year, but again, problems for the Gladiator. A rough way to start your session. Another look at it, and it looked like the outsider may have had an issue right there in the first no man's land, but watch here on this last jump. It looks like that left front's already wobbling around. Indeed, he lands on the right front, but as the left makes contact with the ground, it breaks completely free of the truck. I do believe, as you can see it wobbling around, I believe he may have had some damage, maybe a fracture on the left front corner, because he just peeled it off, and then he bangs into it right there, which halted its forward momentum. Kind of did him a favor. There's Dustin Hart of All Monster, taking some photos here this weekend, also listening in to the track crew. He's in communication with them as well. There we see King Sling, Weston Anderson, the youngest now out driving of a second generation monster trucks, of the most famous family of monster trucks in the King Sling Mega, going side by side with another diesel powered machine called Strictly Business. That is Kyle Rainey out of Wallingford, Connecticut, who just red-lighted big time. It'll be all Weston Anderson at a 7:03. He'll go into the number 1 spot easily. 8/10 faster, just over 8/10 faster than his teammate Gary Sabella in the old number 6 Mega. So the North Carolinians looking good up here at a track that their father really made his name back in the 80s on into the early to mid 90s. In his original machine, and they're carrying on the name. We are not even close to done. The qualifying rounds are concluded, but the carnage continues. Racing action starts next.
Hey, welcome to Wild Man Adventures. We're at the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter. Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo. Gotta check it out. This week we're gonna go down memory lane.
Welcome back to the Lebanon Valley Speedway in West Lebanon, New York. This place is packed. They are dancing on the roof tonight as we get ready for more action now with our stock tough trucks. We're getting ready now for round number 3. Dominic Babardia up against Austin Sitterly. Round 3, as I said before, this is a huge field as we whittle our way down. Looking at the brake lights go off on Sitterly, and what's left of Dominic's Jurassic Park Jeep, he just scattered suspension parts all over the pavement down here. They're door handle to door handle, but that's not going to last long as Austin Sitterly easily takes the lead in the Trailblazer. Moving on into the next round, that bumper cowling still hanging in there. And look at that, the Jurassic Park Jeep literally with the wheel wells down on top of the rubber, and he is tearing pieces and parts out from under the front of that Cherokee as another Cherokee sits in staging. That's Austin A. in trouble, who pulled off a close victory, a destructive victory with Chad Hersey earlier on. Here's the Bomb Bomb, who we did not think we would see back after round 1, but she worked her way back in when another truck broke. As she's doing battle now, she just gets nudged out of the way by Austin A., who's dirt dragging it, trying to stay out in front of her. She has not been treated nicely here tonight. Austin A in trouble with a flying leap across the finish line. The orange Jeep will move on into the semifinal round, where he will take on Austin Sitterly. It'll be Austin and Austin now. Chad Hersey and Brian O'Neill. O'Neill is looking quick here tonight. Where is Hersey? He's gotten way behind, the red lights glowing, but it's not going to do him any good here. He's been a crowd favorite all weekend long. Got on his top in round 1 last night, but again, carnage will not carry you to the finish line in tough truck racing, so Brian O'Neill will move on to the semifinal round. We'll see who he faces when we get there. It'll either be Chad or Dominic, I believe. Depends on who's left after all the destruction we've seen. There are Dominic's front springs, by the way. Ryan Hogan can't booting him up into the front of the skid steer. He's been handling duties down here on the sidelines tonight, keeping everything safe. Pit side up on the wall. You'll see him occasionally working around on the four-wheeler down in the staging lanes. That is Danny Barnes, as he's looking across track at a family member there in the Sayers machine. That's Carl Barnes going side by side with a second-generation tough truck driver, and Dalton Moreau, who gets away quickly. Moreau all alone out front. Here comes Barnes. Can he make up the difference? Look at him trying to dive to the inside, but he can't do it on the wet stuff. The Wayne's Radiator Special flying toward the finish line. He will move to the championship race. Who will he face? It will either be Chris in the number 407 or Bill in the 158, the red, white, and blue machine on the top side. That is Bill. Chris down here in the shorter wheelbase Wrangler, the altered 158, has looked good here this weekend. We could have a new champion here in Westland in the Mods. Beautiful corner, but he gets sideways there. 407 sneaks through the 158. Gonna have to chase him up the track. It's all 407. No, it's not. Look at this 158 trying to come back on the end. Wow, what a race to the finish line. Who got the victory? We've not been told the winner. We're waiting on word. They were right there together on the finish. We'll see who goes against Dalton Moreau in the championship race as the Megas get ready to come back out for their first round of competition. And it will be the number 158 come from behind victory. And he had to pass him in between race lanes, and I don't mean down the alley. He had to get around him before he got to those rollers so he could keep it within the boundaries of the track. That was a very impressive race to the finish, as it will be Dalton Moreau in the Wayne's Radiator machine going up against Bill in the 158 altered wheelbase red, white, and blue Jeep as our first pairing in the mega truck class, the smoking Lil Faker Chevrolet front engine machine on the line against another front engine machine, old number 6 with the Richard Midget horsepower. Let's see who will be king of the Ricin Canes. Round 1, pairing 1, Danny Barnes headed off the track to safety, waiting on green. Sabella picking up the win. Adam Wimple going for a ride as he got out of shape. He will be disqualified as he went off the track. I don't think he made his run any easier, though. Keep your eye on the truck puffing smoke on the left-hand side of your screen. He's riding on the top side of the track, got out of shape. Doesn't look like he made a move to correct. Jabs the brakes, gets into the back of one of the tough truck obstacles. He came so close to putting that red Chevrolet on its top, and that's a hard hit because the backs of those tough truck ramps are actually set up to do stoppies in the monster trucks, the mega trucks if you want. So it's like hitting a small brick wall, and he went into it on the brakes. Adam Wimple with some problems apparently in the little faker. I'm not sure if he had a mechanical issue or what as the next pairing comes up, and these two should be pretty evenly matched. It's going to depend on how Timothy Sayers takes that last jump. I don't want to say he seemed gun shy, but I believe that truck has more left in it as he goes side by side with a guy who's been here before, Dave Rayner, in the just showing off Ford. And keep your eye on the starting line launch in this low lane. It looks like there are some ruts starting to develop that are actually hindering performance coming off the starting line. Very close on the end, but problems for Timothy Sayers as he ripped the entire steering assembly out from underneath the front housing. That's the hardest I've seen him go across the finish line, and there are indeed ruts forming on that low lane as you see Rayner working his way through him, and it put him behind going into the second jump. He actually had to make up some ground right there, and Sayers, watch him pull the trigger. It costs him though as he comes down on the front end. Look at that! 1/100th of a second to separating them at the finish line. 881 to an 882, but going hard at the end cost Timothy Sayers. If he had any hope of coming back through the brake rule, he's now broken. See him land hard on the front end. The tires going different directions, now pointing inward, and you can see the steering parts hanging down from underneath. Took the Rams clean off the front axle. Now as pair of diesel machines come to the line, the very impressive Dirty Looks. It's Raleigh Klein out of Jacksonville, Vermont. We'll go up against Kyle Rainey, who red lit in the qualifying session. He's out of Wallingford, Connecticut. Let's see the weight on green. An impressive run for Klein as he takes a clear-cut victory. Strictly Business leaves the grill on the track again. It's 794 for Dirty Looks, so a full second faster than he was in qualifying. So he's getting the hang of this thing. The more runs he puts down, if we see him here next year, keep your eye on him. Because if he doesn't figure it out here tonight and get the win, I guarantee you he is going to be a problem for the rest of these alcohol-breathing mega trucks right here at Lebanon Valley Speedway as our final pairing comes to the line. The only two rear-engine machines in the class tonight. That's Mark Gerlach lining up in those holes. You can actually see it in the foreground. Watch when he rolls into stage. You're going to see the wheels dip down as they are driving in and out of some big ruts. Dug down about 6 to 8 inches there. The lineup side by side with the odds-on favorite in this matchup. It's going to be Weston Anderson and King Sling. So we'll see. Will it be Gerlach or Anderson? A battle of second-generation drivers. But it's not going to be enough. A 6:12 for King Sling. The new fast time, just over 9/10 faster than his qualifying run and a full second faster than his opponent. A very, very impressive run for Weston Anderson as the track crew goes immediately to work to try to repair those ruts that are forming down there and try to even up the track. It was tough to miss those guys coming off the line. They just found a section there. This track, when it rains, gets like slate, and it took on some rain earlier this week. They've been watering it to try to keep the dust out. It's a very hard-packed surface, so when you dig it out, it doesn't come out like powder. It comes out in these big chunks, and somebody made a hole there when they took off. Probably one of these megas with those big tractor tires as we look at our first-round pairings in the monster truck, 8-truck bracket ready to go here. Avenger and Crustacean. Then it'll be a battle of Team Scream Machines, Brutus and Rage. Axe taking on the Lumberjack. Plain Crazy against Crazy Train. The second time this weekend, we're going to see the Brothers Robbins go toe-to-toe here on the front stretch of the Lebanon Valley Speedway. Now coming to the line, Crush Station, that's Scoob, Zach Wichitbach out of Jefferson, Maine. He's going to go side by side with the old guard, the KG veteran, Mr. Excitement out of Columbus, Michigan, in that beautiful bright green 57 Bel Air Avenger. You can see that body's been tortured this year as Kohler definitely has not been easy on this machine. We've seen him be quite successful on speedway tracks so far this year. We'll see what he has on the front stretch of the Lebanon Valley Speedway, but he and his crew came here with all 4 trucks this weekend, and they have no intention of losing. They didn't get what they wanted last night, but they're going to go for it tonight. Round 1, pairing 1 of the Monster Truck Race. Avenger as Kohler pulled the trigger on the final jump, a 7:09 for Jim Kohler in the Avenger. So about 300ths, I believe, off of his qualifying time. He ran a 7:06 in qualifying. He actually looked better here, but he didn't quite get the starting line launch he had in qualifying, so it looked like he spun the tires a little bit. It's a bit wet up on that starting line area, but look at the final jump, flying across the finish line. Down on the nose, a wicked bounce for him. And take a look at Scoop there on the outside links. He got a little bit out of shape. Again, experience, seat time will pay off for that guy as he gets more underneath of him. He's going to go quicker and quicker, but it will be Kohler moving on to the next round. He will take on one of his teammates because it is either going to be Chris Kohler in Brutus or Corey Rummel in Rage, the second generation driver. Chris Kohler, that's Jim's son, in the Race Source chassis Brutus, going up against the Corey Rummel built Rage. Should be a pretty even matchup right here. 2 very different trucks, similar horsepower in them. 2 kind of different style drivers, though. They're both wild, they are both fearless, but they both have their own way of doing things. Let's see, will it be Rage or Brutus? Battle of Team Scream here in round 1. Rummel got out on him and just held it there. A 792 for Rage. So it will be Mr. Excitement taking on the guy who built his chassis here in the next round. Rage ran a 773, by the way, in qualifying, so it looks like he actually slowed down quite a bit there. Coming up next will be a pair of work trucks. There is Lumberjack, the big black GMC Crystal Wiki, taking on that beautiful fire truck that Jim Kohler built, Axe, out of Columbus, Michigan. Pair of drivers driving for teams out of states not their own. The Chicopee, Massachusetts-based driver, that's Crystal Wiki, in the Jefferson, Maine-based truck called Lumberjack, and the Leicester, Massachusetts-based driver, Joe Foley, in the Columbus, Michigan-based Axe. So a pair of drivers out of the state of Massachusetts. We are about 10 minutes from the Massachusetts border, so both these guys have a lot of fans in town this weekend. Danny Barnes heads off, and they wait on green. Foley again, just carrying that momentum into the final jump. Well, they almost got together there at the end. You see the rear end come around on Foley, trying to get it whoa in the shutdown area. 883 for Lumberjack, not at all what he was looking for. You can see him get a little bit out of shape there in no man's land, but it was all Foley at that point anyways. Joe Foley running a beautiful run. Actually, you can see him, he actually gassed it right there to get down to the infield, got right in front of Chris Sowicki, came right across his bow, as now it's all in the family crazy train with the flashing lights coming to stage up against the Empire Flyer, the younger brother, Montana Robbins and Blaine Crazy. We're going to enter right now Avenger. 1-1 out of the low lane. Then it was Rage and Axe both winning out of the top lane. So far in this round, the top lane has been the place to be. But keep in mind, Jim Kohler also ran the fast time down in the low lane in qualifying, and no one's gotten past that yet. We'll see. Would you have to call that an upset? Take nothing away from Montana. Not only did he take the win, but he just matched Kohler's qualifying time at a 7:06. What an incredible victory, and nobody is going to be as proud of him right now as Triton, because Triton didn't let him have anything on that run. Let's watch it again from the end zone. That was just a solid run for Plain Crazy. A great run for Triton, but not what he needed to get the job. And watching it, look at the starting line jump for Montana Robbins. The reaction time is what won it for him. He got the reaction time and then just ran a smooth race. The big blue Silverado, letting it all hang out. And that has got to be a proud moment for that family, as fast as Triton has been here this weekend. What a run for the big blue Silverado. Now we're going to go immediately back to Tough Trucks, stock Tough Trucks, the semifinals. We still have a ton of racing to get through. Austin A out in front. The hood is up. I don't know how he can see where he's going. Austin Sitterly, we'll see if he can take advantage of that, but he's losing ground. Austin A up on the top of the track. Look at this, they're coming together. Right up pit maneuver on him. He's going to win it blind right there. Austin A taking the victory. Just keeping his eyes on the lower part there. He's trying to look between the bottom of the windshield and the hood. Again, I'm not sure how he did it, as we're going to be a battle of the walking wounded in one of the healthiest trucks here tonight. Brian O'Neill in the spray can Jeep Grand Cherokee, and Dominic in what's left of the Jurassic Jeep. That thing literally has no front suspension left. I'm sure his neck doesn't feel too good right now as he sweeps across the pavement down here at the bottom. And Brian O'Neill is going to cruise to the finish line. He will take on Austin A in the championship race. And there goes Dominic. Well, that thing lands about as soft as a Roomba falling down the stairs. Hey, got through it though. You got to tip your hat. Can he make it to the finish line? Yes, he can. So he will place out of the semifinal round. I don't know where, but that was just pure determination. He put on a show, though. You saw the front fenders hanging out like wings at the end of that run. But those guys are definitely letting it all hang out tonight as we move on into our Mega Truck semifinal round. It's going to be a battle of Ford and the Willis, that 41 Willis body machine called King Sling, a beautiful truck out of the Anderson camp, and always looking good. The big green machine, Weston Anderson, very talented driver, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but don't think that the Anderson family, the brothers of the Anderson family, have stood on their father's shoulders. They all developed their own style. They've all had to live on their own talent. And Dave Rayner picks a tough opponent in this second-generation driver by virtue of making it into the semifinal round race. The first pairing in the semifinals of Megas. It is all Weston Anderson. Rayner with some problems on the run. It looks like he may have let him get out on him, and a 3-second advantage there for Weston Anderson. So King Sling will move on to the final round. Who will he face, though? It will either be Gary Sabella in old number 6 or Mark Gerlach in Hurricane. Here you see Gerlach out of Lanesboro, Massachusetts, headed to the starting line. The concentration on his face lets you know how serious these guys are taking trying to get this big win in front of the grandstands here on one of the most legendary tracks in all of monster truck racing, and one of the more legendary tracks, if not the most legendary track, Dirt Speedway up here in the northeast quadrant of the United States, as we get ready now for this Mega Truck semifinal pairing 2. Danny Barnes getting Mark Gerlach on the line, and Gerlach actually staged a little to the right, even though they filled that hole in so he wouldn't dig it back up. Wise driving right there. Let's see. Boy, he did not let old number 6 have anything. Sabella had to push it a 7:01 as he closes in on Weston Anderson's time. He's not quite there yet, though. We have the Mega Truck Championship race coming up. Monster Truck semifinals still to go, and 2 championships in 2 classes of tough trucks. The carnage continues. Champions will be crowned when we come back. Back at this Legacy Speedway on a beautiful August evening under the twilight. The sun sets over the Taconic Mountains. One of the biggest track promoters in the business, Howard Commander, and owner of this facility, has over 17,000 events in promotion among all of the tracks under his ownership, from concerts to go-kart racing and everything in between. And now the Versus Monster Trucks headed into the second evening of the 2022 Lebanon Valley Monsters and Megas Championship. Avenger and Rage coming to the line. Team Scream in the house in force tonight. They've also got Axe taking on Plain Crazy here in this semifinal round race. First up, though, it'll be a battle of Corey Rummel built machines. The truck nearest the camera, Rage, being driven by the chassis builder, and the truck furthest from the camera being driven by the owner of these 2 machines, the Ohio-based driver in Rage. That's Corey Rummel taking on his boss, Jim Kohler, Mr. Excitement in Avenger. But Kohler is on a mission tonight, not quite as aggressive in that round. He looks smoother, but a 7:07 looking good here in the semifinal round race. Ran a 7:06 in qualifying, a 7:09 in round 1, and he just ran a 7:07 in the semi. So this guy has been consistent out of both lanes tonight. Keep that in mind. He just took a win out of the top side. He almost matched his qualifying time. Keep in mind, though, one of the guys coming up in this matchup did match his qualifying time, that being Montana Robbins in Plain Crazy. So we know that Joe Foley has his work cut out for him in Axe. Joe out of Leicester, Massachusetts, driving the Jim Kohler built chassis with the Axe body on top. That beautiful fire truck taking on the Empire Flyer there, Plain Crazy, the youngest of the Robbins brothers, a second generation now monster truck team. Dad Bob and Mother Kimberly down there cheering on the brothers here tonight. Remember, Triton's not out of this, though. He's going to go for a freestyle win later, but right now he is down there watching his brother go after a racing championship. Right now, just in the monster truck eliminations, we will see if he can make it to the Monsters and Megas overall championship. But before he can get there, he's got to get past this opponent, and we'll see if he can make it to the finals. Problems for Foley almost immediately. It will be Montana Robbins moving on to the championship race against Jim Kohler in Avenger. So it will be another battle between this family and the family out of Michigan. Been an awesome weekend for those teams so far, and Montana would love to pick up a victory over Mr. Excitement. Keep in mind, Kohler actually built the first Crazy Train that Bob Robbins owned, and one of the Aftershock trucks that Bob Robbins owned. Those chassis are still out running around the country somewhere, but tonight, the Eddie Bika version of Crazy Train, and now Plain Crazy out here at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. Here comes Austin A. in trouble. We'll see if he is in trouble against Brian O'Neill, who has been super quick, a little bit lucky here tonight, as this has been a battle of survival. Danny Barnes giving him the thumbs up, points to the light, and away they go. And it's all Brian O'Neill. At this point, all he needs to do is make a legal run, and he does not know he's all alone out here. Look at that. Austin A., I believe, is in one-wheel drive. No hope of getting away from that starting line. He didn't even make it over the first roller. Brian O'Neill going to go ahead and fly toward the finish. Give the fans a show, leaving a couple parts behind. Brian O'Neill, our congratulations, as Austin A. is going to get a forklift ride back to the trailer. Not the way Brian O'Neill wanted to take that win, but as I said earlier, it was a battle of survival in the stock class. These guys were beating and banging for 2 nights now. Big congratulations to Brian O'Neill. Now we will decide our modified class. The Dalton Moreau in the Wayne's Radiator pickup, taking on the gentleman named Bill. We don't have a last name for him, but Bill in the 158 altered wheelbase red, white, and blue Jeep. This should be a Donnybrook here in the final. Both of them coming out hard. They're right there together into the first turn. Moreau sliding out, 158 out in front of the Wayne's pickup. They make contact. Going into the center, they are in trouble. 158 trying to come back on there at the end. They may have words down here. Nope, they share a pair of thumbs ups and go on to the pits. And we've still not heard who the winner is. I'm not sure how they're going to call that. That was a wild finish. You see the the left rear is flat on the 158. Watch this run again. They come into this slick, watered-down section of pavement. Moreau slides out, trying to dirt track onto that front stretch, and right there, the 158 machine gets out in front of them, and they make brief contact on their way back toward the alley. But look at this. This is where it got wild. Looks like Rick Johnson pushing Walker Evans down the front stretch in Dallas. What a wild finish, and the word we get is it will be the Wayne's machine who actually started to stop before the finish line. I'm not sure if he thought that maybe he had done more damage to the 158. No words were shared, by the way. They were laughing it off after they got back to the pits. As we head into our final round of mega trucks, it will be teammates here. Weston Anderson and King Sling already on the line. He will take on Gary Sabella in old number 6. Last night it was Weston Anderson getting the better of Sabella. King Sling taking the victory, not only here, but in the Monsters and Megas overall. Can Sabella get the better of Weston Anderson here tonight? He's got the low lane, but that lane has not been kind to these guys tonight. He lines up a little bit to the right side of that rut that was forming earlier, so he's to the far inside of that first roller. We'll see if that works to his advantage. Danny Barnes off the track. Here we go. Almost colliding at the end of the track. Weston Anderson and King Sling by 0.02 of a second will pick up the win, and it looks like he's going to roll down there and check on Sabella, who took a lick at the end of that run. He is moving around inside the truck, but what a finish. He got him off the line, but he got sideways on that bottom side, trying to keep ahead of Anderson. No lift from either of those drivers as they both drifted toward the middle. And look at the sparks out of the front drivetrain, pieces and parts coming out from underneath of old number 6. And it came to a screeching halt. Watch again. I believe Anderson went further to the left than Sabella went to the right. He did. They just avoided contact, but a lot of damage done to old number 6. You can see it right there. Bent sway bars, bent shocks. And there's the culprit. Look at that. Completely ripped the cradle apart. One of the sleeve welds came out. There had to be some existing damage there, I'm sure, but he did a lot more damage than he wanted to. That truck is toast. Gonna have to go back and be rebuilt. It's got a lot more history in it. As Montana Robbins now rolls up, trying to psych out Mr. Excitement. Gonna have to do a lot more than that, but Montana is ready to go here in the championship round of our monster truck elimination bracket. As I said earlier, Jim Kohler built chassis for this team, and he's very proud to have these boys going down track next to him, but he is not going to give him an inch as Montana Robbins lines up side by side with Avenger at the wheel of Plain Crazy, and now he may have a problem on the line. There we go. Kohler had not fired. He did the remote ignition test on him, and the truck never came back to life. Now he refires and moves toward the starting line for this final round battle with the big blue Chevy out of Lawton's, New York, Michigan versus the Empire State. Pair of Great Lakes area monsters ready to go here in the final round at West Lebanon. Some of the closest racing we have seen all year long as Kohler takes a wild ride in shutdown. Montana Robbins goes on off the end of the track. He's all right, though. He gets it collected. But what a final round race as we wait to hear who the winner was. They were right there together on the finish line. We know the times right now. We haven't got word who put down what time. It looked like Avenger may have had a little edge over the last jump, but Montana Robbins did not let Kohler have anything. Let's watch it again. Keep your eyes on the landing between these two trucks. Watch Kohler nose it in, bouncing all over the place. Robbins carrying a lot of speed, staying on the low side. Much to his credit, to try to make sure his truck did not get in front of or hook tires with Jim Kohler in Avenger. He actually had Kohler early in the run. And there it is, 200ths. One more time, it's 200ths of a second at the finish line. So Kohler will come back to the line. There will be a pair of green machines in the championship race here at Lebanon Valley Speedway. Jim Kohler in Avenger battling with another second generation, the newest gen phenom in the industry he loves so much. He's built his name right alongside one of the legends of this industry that started way back when. Now watching his own son take the truck down the track next to one of the all-stars of monster truck competition, Avenger, and King Sling in the final. Anderson was all over the track. Jim Kohler in Avenger will pick up the victory, a 7:11 to an 8:02. You gotta tip your hat, though, to Anderson with the problems he had on the run. He still managed to make it fairly close at the end in spite of those issues. As Avenger heads back to the pits, these two will get ready for freestyle, and it's gonna be an awesome one. The Megas will freestyle first, and then the Monsters will settle the score. Stay with us. Keeping it moving here at Lebanon Valley Speedway, West Lebanon, New York. Highlights from our early freestyle action with the mega trucks. Mark Gerlach out of Ladesboro, Massachusetts, in the Hurricane Chevrolet body rear engine machine. Looking good here tonight. Starting things off pretty strong with his freestyle action Flame shooting out the headers. Gerlach laying it down. Kyle Rainey showing the crowd here that the diesel machines can fly. Strictly business too. Looking good out here. The big green machine out of Wallingford, Connecticut, standing proud in front of the crowd in New York. Just showing off. Dave Rayner out of Morris, Connecticut, finding the wet spot and throwing it into some donuts, trying to get it into cyclone territory, but it just didn't quite get there. But did not disappoint the fans as he put the mud where it's supposed to be, up on the side of that beautiful blue dead side Ford. Dave Rayner looking good and just showing off out of Morris, Connecticut. Now we come back to live action. Here comes Bobby Sage out of Hainesport, New Jersey. In dirty Jersey, that long, tall S10. Those big old coilovers on it. Let's see what he can do. You can see how slick it gets up here. Is that dirt, when it gets wet, it doesn't turn into thick mud. It doesn't really turn into a slop. It actually just turns into like a slate floor, and it is impossible to get any traction when you get on that stuff. And you can see he was just spinning those big cleated tractor tires. Coming down onto the low side. He said he had something special for the crowd. He said get the fire extinguishers ready before he headed out. Let's see what he's going to do. Right for the backflip ramp. Look at this. You saw Ryan Hogenkamp getting ready to head down there. I don't think anybody thought that thing was going to come all the way back over. Now, I don't know if you technically classify that as a backflip, but it was spectacular, and that's what the fans paid the money to see here tonight. The Versus Monster Truck crew, Steve Perry and Howard Commander here at Lebanon Valley Speedway, bringing them all the action. There you see the track crew down there, Ryan Hogenkamp and Danny Barnes picking up some pieces and parts. I see Corey Rummel headed down that way. Let's watch it again as he mashes the top of that motor into the dirt. He didn't have any hope. He just jammed the front of the chassis into the box. And there you see Hogenkamp starting to head over there. I think thinking the truck was done for. Stayed in the throttle, and it just rotates on back over in a cloud of the smoke. The hood coming off. But the fans absolutely loved it. What a run in our mega truck freestyles. Here comes now Weston Anderson and King Sling. Gonna close up our mega freestyles, and you can see that body's already a little cracked and broken in the back. As hard as he's gone here already this weekend, let's see what he can do with the Richard Midget horsepower inside this machine. Huge air for King Sling, and off comes the body. Trying to go go for the two-wheel moves. You can see it's still very wet down there as Anderson leaving nothing on the table. A little slap wheelie getting into the slick stuff right there. That is the difference between having only front steering and four-wheel steering. You can see he's getting into that cyclone territory. Let's see what he's got left for the crowd here in New York. Going big, he's in trouble, over on his side, he comes down hard. Cliff Thomas headed over to check on Weston Anderson. Now we see Danny Barnes and Ryan Hogan-Camp. Bill has the rest of the crew all headed down that way. The loader headed that way. We see some EMTs down there checking as well because he just took a lick. What a run for Weston Anderson, and what else would you expect from the most famous family in monster trucks, now in mega trucks? Not the way you want to come down. Boy, he did a lot of damage to that machine. Look at it, bent shocks, bent sway bars. Broken heims is what will lead to that because they cannot hold up to those sideways hits like that. Normally they can't. Every once in a while you get lucky. Weston, though, climbing out, otherwise unscathed. Youth giving him a little leg up when it comes to healing up after a crash, but the crowd absolutely loved it. Weston Anderson committing to a little carnage out there in King Sling. We're not done yet, though. We still have the Monster Truck Freestyle Championship yet to go. Over 4 decades of monster truck history between this driver and this legendary racetrack. The icon, the legend of monster truck competition, heads out onto the front stretch with 2 very lucky fans, 2 very lucky ticket holders in the back of this 3-seater monster truck put together by the Metal Shop out of Delaware, out of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. It's Dennis Anderson in Extreme King Sling, starting off Monster Truck Freestyle. And he will wrap up a strong run. Not going to be a winner in this competition, but his purpose here tonight was to get himself back on this front stretch and take those 2 lucky winners for a ride of a lifetime in the back of that awesome machine that they call Extreme King Sling. One more time, watch the launch over the race lanes. He's still got it. I think he can still come out here and win one. I don't know if we'll ever see that again, but it's good to see Dennis back out on the track that made him so famous. And I know Howard was more than happy to see him out here this weekend. Now, Chris Sawicki in the Lumberjack. Got something to prove as he gets into the water down there and slides into that crush car set. It's a Carvan car stack down there. And again, just goes to show you how slick this track is. Sawicki, though, going right behind the Icon. Straight up and down the sky wheelie, and the Beaver is buried in the crush cars. For the second night in a row, the Beaver gets left on the track. Sawicki letting it all hang out as he's starting to lose a part of his load back there. Going to be leaving some lumber on the track, coming down here to the inside. Remember I mentioned those stadium-sized freestyle obstacles? There they are. Look at the hang time for Sawicki. Off comes the lumber. Sawicki pushing this thing hard as some of the sliced wood goes bouncing across the track. He just put that back on there too. He's leaving nothing on the table. That's how you do it, Sawicki. With a drifting donut sliding across the front stretch. 360 spin. Look at this. Sky wheelie right on there. You see, look at the Beaver bouncing around in the crush cars. Left it up there. I don't know if the Beaver stayed in the cars or not. Sawicki, though, is going to have to go find his little buddy there. What a run for the Lumberjack. I believe will take the lead early with that run, and he made life hard on everybody behind him because he set the bar very high. He got a lot of hang time and some wild moves in there. Sawicki with the save of the year, the Versus Monster Trucks Series. Now, Montana Robbins, your monster truck racing runner-up in Plain Crazy. Very, very impressive tonight, and again with the smoke show off the back. Getting ready to do a little sky riding in the Empire Flyer Plain Crazy. Crew worked very hard on this truck to get some issues he's been having with the brakes locking up on him. Get those issues repaired so he could come out here and throw down. And he did very well in racing. The truck seems like it's back to 100%. Beautiful move going the other way over that bus jump down there. And Montana Robbins in the FDI-sponsored Plain Crazy, going after Chris Sawicki and Lumberjack. Doing so in style. A lot of smoke out of those rear brake rotors. I don't know if he's just getting on them hard or if they're actually starting to lock up on him. We actually see some fire coming out from under that thing. It puts itself out. I think he may just be riding the brakes. He's doing an awesome job, though. Getting a little wild right there. Goes to show you how well built these Eddie Micah machines are and how well maintained and prepared the Robbins family keeps their equipment. Getting a little bit wedged up down here by the wall. Working it into a donut. Now he's going to wrap it up right there. Smoking out of the brake rotors. And again, I don't know if he was riding them or if they were hanging up, but it did not matter. He did not let it stop him. Just ran his own run out there. Montana Robbins, one of the best freestyles we've seen him do in some time in Plain Crazy. A very impressive shot here at Lebanon Valley Speedway, trying to turn it up after that dynamic run of Chris Sawicki, and again getting wild right there. You can hurt a corner that way, but they run those big Rockwell corners on these trucks. They tend to not break those. The crowd absolutely loving Montana Robbins Plain Crazy. He's had an awesome weekend here at Lebanon Valley Speedway. Now, another second-generation driver, Zach Witchenbach, the guy they call Scoob out of Jefferson, Maine. This is Crush Station. We will see what he's got for the two drivers that went in front of him, and if he can make life miserable for the guys who have to come up behind him. Your goal is to jump over the guys in front of you and leave the bar much higher than the guys behind you will want to clear. That is a tough road to hoe. Side. Again, it's very slick up there. You can see they cannot take the water off top of this track. It's just hanging in there. Nicely done. Big sky wheelie for Crush Station. The Monster Lobster out of Jefferson, Maine, turning it up. It looks like everybody did so on this final night here at the Lebanon Valley Speedway, knowing this was their last shot at glory. Heading around back. Let's see. Will he attack the big stuff? It looks like he's going to line up for it. Going for the big air again. Nicely done. And he will finish it up, kicking up the dust here. Watch this one more time. Could have ended up on his top very easily, but turns into it, drives out of it, and luckily the ground is actually slick enough there to allow the truck to slide back onto all four wheels, but he took quite a hit on that corner and then followed it up with a massive sky wheelie. Zach Witchenbach doing an awesome job in crustacean. Again, I don't think it's going to be a takeover run from the likes of Sawicki and Montana Robbins, but a solid effort for Zach Witchenbach. Stay with us, more to come. Welcome back to the Lebanon Valley Speedway as another second-generation driver takes to the track. This one in a Race Source chassis machine out of Columbus, Michigan. Chris Kohler in Brutus, the name that Chris Bergeron made so famous throughout the early 2000s. Now on this awesome piece of equipment that debuted in mid-2008. And you cannot stop these Team Scream machines. Chris Kohler known for getting some big air, and it looks like he's going to do that right now. One of the definite upsides to having elevated car stacks in the race lanes is you can hit them from the race ramp side and they'll still give you quite a kick. As Kohler coming down to the inside, man, he's got a lot of sparks coming out of the rear drivetrain. It looks like right around the transfer case, maybe. Oh, he's got a drive shaft coming apart. It looks like he's in front-wheel drive only. Absolutely, he has completely lost rear-wheel drive, and that means he's only going to be about half stop power, and went ahead and made one more move just to see where the truck was, but he's going to go ahead and take it on off the track. I'm not sure at what point it actually broke, but that is a tough way to go out of competition for a guy who was ready to absolutely destroy a truck if he had to get a win. Not that he wanted to, but this is one of those teams. The owner, Jim Kohler, gives all his drivers and crew the green light to send these trucks into low orbit. You can do whatever you want as long as you're willing to fix it. And here comes the other end of the spectrum, a family who likes to keep their equipment in top form, prime condition, but they are not afraid to drive the wheels off of it if that means a victory. And here in freestyle, it may be the case. Working his way around turn number 4, headed back toward the front stretch. Big air out of the big train from Lawtons, New York. Remember the last time we saw Triton out in the Keystone State up in the Great Lakes area, he completely blew that engine up. So this is a fresh power plant they've got in this machine. Should be in fine form tonight. Let's see if he can pick up a freestyle victory. We know he's capable of it. And he comes to a halt right there on the front stretch. I'm not sure. We see the crew headed out that way right now, and you can see the lights are still on, the LEDs down in the chassis. I'm not sure if he lost power or what. There you see Bob Robbins, the owner of those machines, and Triton, Montana's father, taking a look. The crowd cheering him on. Okay, he has refired. Gonna back all the equipment off. And you are about to see an angry, aggressive Triton Robbins. Watch this. He hasn't made a move yet, but this is gonna be a very different run than what he was about to do. First one to attack that. He does it in style. Kicks him off to the side just a little bit. But he is not going to drive away from anything right now. Just going from one hit to the next. Triton Robbins and the Jansen-powered Crazy Train. Searching a little bit. I thought he may have a problem. Now he's going to get some donuts. It is cyclone time on the slick stuff down on the paved pit lane of the Lebanon Valley Speedway. He just went right through the pool. He's got tweaked sway bars. I think he may have a shock or two going away, but it is not stopping him. Triton Robbins back to the ambulance. And he has completely destroyed the front suspension on that machine. I'm not sure what all broke right there, but he just tore up a lot of parts. What a great run. I don't know, that may be a takeover run. It certainly had the makings of one, even with the pause in the middle. And as I said, you're going to get a very different run once he started driving angry. He is a superstar here tonight. Watch him stuff the left front into the pavement. And what he actually did was he pulled the bung out of the left front upper forelink. That's why it dropped down. So the hive is actually still connected to the chassis on that bar. Just literally ripped the center out of that tube. And there it goes. It drops down. And once it let it go, it ripped the shocks apart. It bent all four front shocks, I believe. And if you can read the back of somebody's head, I think Bob Robbins is about to give Triton a talking to. But crowd wanted carnage, and they got some from Crazy Train, as we still have a few trucks left to go. We'll see now. Here comes Corey Rummel in rage. In a machine he built himself for Team Scream. Keep in mind, he also built Jim Kohler's machine. Corey out of North Jackson, Ohio, representing Team Scream out of Columbus, Michigan. They build a lot of their own parts. They do their own fiberglass work. They build their own horsepower. This is a team that knows their trucks inside and out, and that means they are not afraid to go for broke. You notice he's got the bed sides and the hood off of this thing. If you've seen him do this before, I have a feeling he's going to be the first to take an attempt at the low side of this track, and it looks like that's right where he is going. He did it last time. He'll do it again. Lining it up this time. Bobby Sage tore into that earlier. Is there anything left geometrically for him to get a flip? And the back end sticks and he stuffs the shock towers right into the dirt. Corey Rummel upside down. He's okay. We see him give the thumbs up to Ryan Hogenkamp, who ran over to the far side there to check on him. You can see why they put all that dirt on top of that pavement. Keep in mind here, last year, Greg Witchenbach did not complete a backflip and landed on the paved pit lane there very hard with what was basically a brand new chassis. But Corey Rummel in rage, giving the crowd a little more carnage. I don't think that run, even with what he did, is going to be able to take over the #1 spot. But here's a guy who could get the job done, and a guy we saw win a freestyle at one of these big 3 speedways earlier this summer. This is Joe Foley out of Leicester, Massachusetts, in the machine called Axe. This truck built by Jim Kohler, one of the few V-Cradle chassis left out here on the circuit, and these things love to slap, really. We will see if he can do that. The lights flashing, he puts the foot to the floor. Let's see what Joe can do. Well, that didn't last long. That's not what Joe Foley wanted to do, I can guarantee you that. 2 in a row on their top early in the run, and Foley gives word that he's okay, but the fire truck is over very quickly. He caught a bad, right there. Okay, it was just the water kind of slid down into that stack, tried to go for it. When he did, the left rear just basically slid off the hood of the car there, I guess the trunk side of the first car in that car-van car stack. I believe there's 2 cars, one on each side, and then 2 minivans buried in that stack there, and that left rear tire just didn't make it up on there. You see the body damage when they flipped him back over, and Joe Foley in Axe not getting what he wanted out of that run. It looks like, though, he stayed strapped in, and he may be ready to go for more. Yes, he is, but the truck cuts off in midair. He refires. We saw him have the same problem earlier this year, and that's a tough hit when you deadfall like that. It's got to be in the back of his mind, if he keeps running, that could happen again. So we'll see what he's willing to do with this big fire truck out of Michigan. Working his way up and over whatever's in front of him. I believe he may be having a mechanical problem that we thought he solved earlier this afternoon. That roof about to come off. Keep your eye on him. He's going back to the stack to hit him, but he's going the other way. He had a broken left rear axle last night during freestyle. I believe he broke it again when he flipped the truck. Going big in spite of it. Giving it everything the machine had left in it. Mechanical problems or not, you are not going to stop Joe Foley from making his freestyle run. Axe laying it down, pieces and parts and fiberglass and everything laying on the track. Trying to go right behind another guy who got shut off mid-run. That time, though, it was a mechanical problem. This time, the truck ended up on its top, then finishes the rest of the run with mechanical issues. Watch this launch right here. Truck dies in the air, and he comes down right on the nose. Again, that is such a tough landing when you come over with no power like that. It just hits a ton, but Foley getting right back after it. He refires the truck. He was not about to pull off this track and not give this crowd the show that they paid to see. And right here was a clear indication of a broken axle. You can see the truck coming down hard on the front end. He did not have four-wheel drive. He only had one wheel spinning in the rear, and it kicked the truck over like that. Now, our final competitor, your race winner in the Monster Truck bracket and your Monsters and Megas overall winner, comes to attack the track in freestyle. The 57 Bel Air, as I said, another machine built by Corey Rummel and a guy who built equipment for the Robbins family. This is Jim Kohler in the Avenger. His first visit here, his team's first visit here to the Lebanon Valley Speedway, and they want it to be a successful one, although he's having some trouble getting the two-wheel moves going on a very slick track. Even with Ukrainians, he's having some trouble getting that cleat to dig in on that hard stuff up there. Very hard-packed track with water on top of it. You can see all that goo kind of collecting on the tires there. It is slick as snot on the top end of this track. Coming back with the massive air. If the track's too slick for him to show off his skills, he's going to show off how fearless he can be again with a massive hit. Kohler giving the big green machine everything it'll take. What's he heading for now? Off the trench box, a huge launch onto the front stretch, probably the biggest air of the weekend. It's been sitting there all weekend and no one else has hit it. Sideways over the pond. got a slap wheelie on one of the slickest spots on the track. Jim Kohler in Avenger, turning them on here in Lebanon Valley. These trucks are heavy, but they are bulletproof. These Corey Rummel built machines that this team runs so well, and the work they put in to fabricating a lot of their own equipment, you can see, is definitely paying off here this evening as these guys have turned this crowd on. They came here, and they came here to perform in style. This is their first full visit to this speedway, and they are not going home empty-handed. He may have just won himself a freestyle. I don't know yet. We're going to have to wait and see. But look at the run that he laid down while we wait on word to see who our winner is going to be. If he did win the freestyle, that's a clean sweep here on night 2 at Monsters and Megas 2022. Look at the hang time and look at the beating he put this truck through. The body coming apart on the landing, but the hang time was second to none. He has been going bigger than anybody else here this weekend as he turns them on. Watch this. Coming up next, though, he's the first person to go after the ramp on the backside of the trench box, on the backside of that backflip ramp. Nobody else went for it. He saw it sitting there. It was an unused obstacle, and he hit it. He hit it full throttle, and it pays off. What a run for Jim Kohler. Here we go. Waiting on the event results. They'll come up momentarily. And there you see it, Jim Kohler with a clean sweep in monster truck competition. He wins racing, he wins the Monsters and Megas overall, and he wins freestyle. Weston Anderson and King Sling winning the Mega Truck bracket, going runner-up in Monsters and Megas. He was in the finals 2 nights in a row. Brian O'Neill, our stock tough truck champion, and Dalton Moreau, our modified tough truck champion. So congratulations to all our winners here for the whole weekend. It's been an awesome Monsters and Megas 2022. Thanks to Versus Monster Trucks and Howard Commander. We will see you next time.